Hello, I'm Isaac Heath Martinez, and welcome to Isaac's Haunted Beard. I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, I really like it when that guy that I've never met, that I only know through the internet, tells me about which movies he's been watching lately. Well, you're in luck. I have a list of stuff. Actually, I'm not going to talk about all the stuff that I've been watching lately, because that's a lot of stuff. I'm going to be talking about some of the stuff. Okay. For the record, the last time I made a video was in September talking about highlights from the summer of 2019. Here we are in December of 2019, so forget about September. I'm going to focus on October and November. Here's some highlights. In October of 2019, I watched 65 movies. 62 of them were horror films to participate in hashtag 31 horror films 31 days. The three that weren't horror films were horror-themed comedies, and those movies were One Cut of the Dead, Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein, and The Ghost and Mr. Chicken. One Cut of the Dead is currently streaming on Shudder. If you have access to that, check it out. And if you don't know anything about it, keep it that way. If I have any sort of influence on you, trust me, watch this movie. It is a Japanese zombie film, and there's definitely surprises. But if you can go into it without having any of that spoiled for you already, even better. Because I didn't, and I'm so thankful. I loved it. Check out One Cut of the Dead if you haven't already. So, the way I'm going to talk about my October 2019 is to talk about favorite dates in each week of that month. There were 5 weeks in October, and in week 1, I'd say my favorite date was October 1st. I started off October with a bang with a double feature of the OG versions of Halloween and Dawn of the Dead. Can't beat that, especially Dawn of the Dead. Week 2, my favorite highlight was October 9th. I did a double feature of The Devil's Rejects and 3 from Hell. And I'm picking that date because it's the first time I ever saw 3 from Hell, the third film in the Firefly trilogy, which begins with House of a Thousand Corpses, continues with The Devil's Rejects. And I wouldn't say necessarily concludes with 3 from Hell. You never know, it could continue. People thought The Devil's Rejects was the last we'd ever see of the Firefly clan, and they were wrong. Okay, 3 from Hell, good stuff, very violent. Week 3, I'm going to pick October 19th. I did a double feature of Hard Rock Zombies and Rock and Roll Nightmare, just because it was a very goofy, hard rock themed horror film night. But I also want to give a shout out to October 18th, where I did a double feature of Bad Moon and Pumpkinhead 2, Blood Wings. Not so much for Pumpkinhead 2, but more so for Bad Moon. I haven't seen Bad Moon in a long time. It's a werewolf movie where the protagonist is a dog. On October 20th, my highlight of the 4th week of October is a triple feature of Part 2s. Friday the 13th, Part 2, A Nightmare on Elm Street 2, Freddy's Revenge, and The Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. It's a lot of fun right there. And then my week 5 highlight would be Halloween itself. October 31st, I did a triple feature of Trick or Treat. Not Trick or Treat, the horror anthology, which is also a very cool, popular film that I like. But Trick or Treat, which I don't even have to tell you what that's about because we all love it, right? Sammy Kerr, Mark Price, you know the drill. Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein and The Ghost and Mr. Chicken. I thought it was okay to do comedies with horror films that day because, I had already met my goal of doing 31 horror films in 31 days much earlier in the month. So once we got to Halloween, I always do Trick or Treat on Halloween, and I thought it'd be fun to do Abbott and Costello, which I'd never seen before. That was a great film. And Ghost of Mr. Chicken, Down Nuts, comedy classic. Abbott and Costello is really funny. I always forget how funny they are. Here's a little trivia for you. Glenn Strange, who plays Frankenstein, would often ruin takes during that film because he'd end up laughing so much at jokes, specifically that Lou Costello would say. On a side note, Bray Wyatt, The Fiend, won the Universal Championship from Seth Rollins on Halloween, and that's very appropriate. And if you know what I'm talking about, you know why that's appropriate. If you don't know what I'm talking about, it's okay. It's okay. Alright, let's move on to November, shall we? I'm going to do the same thing. I watched 42 films in November, and I'm going to do a highlight for each week. Week 1, my highlight would be, what does this say? I have notes. October 8th, I did a double feature of Halloween 4, and that's The Return of Michael Myers, and Muppets Take Manhattan. I watched Halloween 4 in October as well, because I didn't know Joe Bob was going to show them, and I'd watched them already, so I wasn't going to watch it twice in the same month, so I figured I'd wait till November. It wouldn't feel like overkill. And then Muppets Take Manhattan, as it turns out, is not on Disney Plus, and neither is Muppets from Space, which I also watched last month on the 23rd as a part of a double feature with Friday the 13th Part 7, with New Blood, and I like those movies, but I don't know, maybe I was just rubbing it into no one, be like, ooh, look at me, I'm watching physical media. Okay, on week 2 of November, my date that I'd like to put a spotlight on is November 11th. I did a double feature of Halloween 5 and Twin Sitters. For the record, I think Halloween 5 gets a bad rap. I honestly don't understand why everybody hates that movie. Feel free to tell me in the comments why you hate Halloween 5, and I will feel free to ignore you. Twin Sitters is a movie that was recommended to me by a Twitter friend who I'd like to give a shout out to. Skinslip, how's it going, pal? Thank you for hooking me up with that classic 90s Barbarian Brothers movie. I loved it. The best costumes pretty much I've ever seen in a movie ever. Twin Sitters. It's on YouTube if you ever want to see for yourself what I'm talking about. Some other good movies I saw that week that I also want to put a spotlight on is Session 9, which is on Shudder. I'm sure you've seen that already. And The Passion of Darkly Noon with Brendan Fraser, which is on Shudder and Amazon Prime. That's a weird movie. Check it out. Week 3 of November, on November 20th, the double feature of Dolomite Is My Name and Good Burger is my pick for week 3. Dolomite Is My Name is so good. I knew it was going to be good, but I didn't know it was going to be that good. From the moment the movie starts and Eddie Murphy starts talking, there's just something about the way Eddie Murphy talks when he's in the zone. He's just musical, just music coming out of his mouth. It's funny, but it's also very touching. There's moments in that movie that made me, I didn't cry, but almost a little teary. Week 4, final week of November. My highlight is November 25th, Big Hero 6. First time watch for me. One of the good things about Disney Plus, I was never good at keeping up with Disney movies. I like them, but I never really went out of my way to see them when they came out in theater. And there's a lot of them that I missed, so I'm catching up on that. In fact, tonight, the same night that I made this video, I watched Up for the first time. You know, the balloons in the house and the talking dogs? Yeah, that one. And for the record, talking dogs? Okay, I can buy that. Dogs that fly airplanes? Come on. Okay, and and in November, on the November 20th was the 20th anniversary of Tim Burton's Sleepy Hollow, which is a movie I really like. I did watch that night, and I also watched 2 movies with the word rock in the title. I watched a movie called Stunt Rock and a movie called Body Rock, and that was a coincidence. Body Rock is ridiculous. Body Rock feels like in the 80s, because the 80s movie, producers looked at the movie Beat Street and went, this is really cool. How can we make this better? Ooh, I know. Let's replace all the rappers and dancers with white people. Yeah, Lorenzo Lamas as a rapper-dancer. It's as good as you think it is. Yeah, there you go. December. We're in December, folks. So far, December 1st, I did a double feature of The Irishman and Avengers Endgame to show you don't have to pick sides. You can like them both. It's okay. You can like them both. I also saw a lot of people on Twitter going, 3 hours and a half is too long. Really? Is it? Well, okay, that's unfair. That was not cool. For you, it's too long. What can I say? When it was done, I was like, let's do it again. Let's put on Avengers Endgame, the longest Avengers movie. Just 6.5 hours of just looking at the TV. And when I look at the TV, I look at the TV. I don't get distracted. I don't do other things while I'm looking at it. I'm just looking at the TV. Like a gosh darn zombie. Because this is what I do. This is why I was put on this earth. To watch TV. Oh, and before this video ends, I also want to point out a movie on Shudder that just was put on there recently called Deadly Games. It's a late 1989, I was going to say late 80s, 1989 horror film, French horror film, about a crazy person dressed as Santa Claus who's going to break into this mansion where this little kid and his grandpa lives, and he's a child prodigy, and he's obsessed with action films, and he totally booby traps the house and goes into full-on Rambo mode and goes to war with this Santa, and it's amazing, and it's predates Home Alone, and it's better than Home Alone. Yeah, there, I said it. Sue me. I don't care. All right, there you go, folks. That's there's my update for a while. You know, I don't do these very often because I'm lazy, because I'm too busy watching 6 hours of television. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. I love you, I appreciate you. Thanks for spending time with me. If you haven't already, please subscribe to this channel, and for more of my shenanigans, you can follow me on Twitter, where I talk about movies and other kind of malarkey daily. Okay, thank you. Take care. Bye-bye.